In his defense, it is not his job to explain to you guys the history of slavery and colonization in the country of Mexico. But let us talk about it. So shout out to Drex. He's a young rapper from the OC, much respect to Orange County, SoCal in totality. And he looks very visually, morenito, black. But flow wise, cadence of speech wise, even if you look at his facial structure, he looks very Mexican, raza. And he was doing an interview with Duno. Shout out to Duno on Duno. I fuck with Duno. Duno's actually doing a really good job with his content. And he was explaining, even his mom was explaining, people think I'm black, but no, I'm full black Mexican. But he also said that a lot of people don't know the history of black Mexicans in Mexico. I think most people, when they meet somebody who would look like him, they just naturally assume, okay, either he just grew up with Mexicans or maybe he's just a really dark-skinned Blaxican. A lot of people don't know that when you go to Mexico, there are leftover descendants from the slave trade in Mexico, Afro Mexicanos. Generally speaking, if you meet them, they're from Guerrero or Oaxaca. Usually, the ones I've met, I've only met maybe one from Oaxaca, but the ones the majority of them you meet from like Guerrero, Costa Chica. I've heard you can meet some from Veracruz, and it's interesting. I tell people this all the time. It's always funny when you meet people who are black from Latino countries or Latin countries because people always act shocked, like, oh my God, there's black Mexicans, there's black Cubans, there's black Brazilians. Y'all have to understand this. The same blueprint that white people did here applies to the same blueprint that they did everywhere else. Whether you go to Cuba, whether you go to República Dominicana, let me stop saying it like, whether you go to Cuba, whether you go to Puerto Rico, whether you go to Brazil, it's the same blueprint. When you had the slave trade, all the colonizers came, then they bring our black asses over to do all the goddamn work. It's the same blueprint everywhere. And it's the weirdest thing because, like, from what I understand, when you go to Mexico, the actual Afro Mestizo actual Afro Mestizo population there, they only make up, it's like a crazy, like, it's like maybe like 1%, 2% of the population, right? But if you look at it, that's the same blueprint everywhere else. Like, a lot of people don't know, when you come to the United States, black people, we literally only make up like, I want to say it's like 15, we only make up like 15% of the population there. But when you go to other countries in the Western Hemisphere that got colonized, it's the same thing. Colombia, I think we're like maybe 19%. You go to Panama, Panama is a lot. Panama, I think actually might have one of the highest populations of percentage-wise of